Mercedes failed to take up either a driver's or constructors title this year, for the first time since the turbo hybrid regulations were implemented in 2014. And we all know that once you fall off, it might be difficult to get back up, especially when you fall off regarding new regulations. And this is exactly what happened to Mercedes this year. So, will they be able to regain their top position next season? Or will they have to do damage control for a couple of years? Let's dive into Mercedes' 2023 plans. What do you think? Will Mercedes be back on top next year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and stick around until the end to find out what Hamilton had to say about the 2023 season. And so, Mercedes is aware that there is a chance this year's drop in performance may not be a one-off, as F1 history books frequently demonstrate that dominating teams can spend years in the doldrums once they're finally defeated. Wolff asserts that Mercedes may avoid what happened to the other top teams, based on a detailed examination of the causes of their decline. He asserts that other teams frequently suffered because of senior staff or driver departures, or engine partner changes. Wolff says there is now no significant cause for concern because Mercedes is still working with the best personnel, who helped it achieve its most recent achievements. Speaking about stopping the kind of decline other top teams have faced, Wolff said, "Of course we're talking about it. We are analysing what were the reasons in the past that teams that dominated over an era suddenly lost performance. And you can trace it back pretty well. Change of regulation, people leaving, a tyre that changed fundamentally. We have the same organisation, the same capability, the same financial funding. And I believe we have things in common and we can trace it back. We are aware of all that and the regulation changed. We got it wrong. But all the other pillars are still in place, and we have to tune the systems and understand them." According to Wolff, the reason why it took other teams so long to recover was because they had to fundamentally alter their organisational structures, something Mercedes does not need to do. However, he's also aware that if Mercedes finds itself in trouble, things can escalate swiftly. You can see that with Ferrari as an example. I mean, they lost the whole top leadership and the key driver, he said. I think that is something where you can trace it back. With Red Bull, it was a fundamental situation that the power unit regulations changed upside down, and no works deal basically. So it was fundamental parameters changed. But we're looking at that and thinking, we better be careful. We better be careful because the season has gone by in a heartbeat, and we can't let that happen, to look back after the next season and the one after. But the contrast between Toto Wolff at the end of the 2022 Formula 1 season and Toto Wolff at the end of the 2021 Formula 1 season was incredibly stark. As the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix restarted with a safety car/lap car procedure only partially completed, but only completed to an extent that greatly disadvantaged his driver Lewis Hamilton, his now famous anguished radio cry of "No Michael, no, no Michael, that was so not right," and desperate garage demeanour had become rather iconic representation of Mercedes' feelings about that finale. 4 days later, when Mercedes decided not to appeal the decision, Wolff gave a stronger online press conference. Wolff struggled to find the right words to express his fury and sense of unfairness. So more than what he said, his black polo neck and stark white background somehow looking particularly fittingly austere for the circumstances. It was how he said it. 11 months later, Wolff and Susie Wolff's small son Jack playfully interrupted his father during the live post-Abu Dhabi GP media interview at Mercedes. There couldn't have been a bigger difference in post-season interviews. Nevertheless, Mercedes won another Constructors' Championship in Abu Dhabi last year and finished a very, very close second in the Drivers' Championship. This year, it just escaped going winless. Fell to third place in the Constructors' standing, while its drivers finished 4th and 6th in their respective championships. George Russell finished 5th for Mercedes in Abu Dhabi 2022, with Lewis Hamilton retiring due to hydraulic issues, as he was set to lose 4th to the faster Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. A podium never appeared realistic. It doesn't take a psychological genius to deduce that a painful and contentious last-second loss will sting more in the moment than a season of underperformance. The degree of emotional disparity at Mercedes, however, was still notable. It has frequently seemed that way during Hamilton's media appearances this season as well. The 7-time champion presents as quite unconcerned about what is statistically his weakest F1 season, with a demeanour that is a far cry from the passion of last year. After Abu Dhabi qualifying, it was clearly clear that Mercedes would not depart 2022 on the same high it had had in recent races, competing for victories and scoring a victory in Brazil. And Hamilton did acknowledge last Saturday that he was eagerly anticipating not operating the W13 once more after Tuesday's tyre test. That highlights the main distinction between then and now. Last year, Mercedes' season ended in shock. This year, it does so in relief. Key individuals at Mercedes have long since accepted the truth of 2022. Professionally speaking, there was still work to be done this year, but the main emphasis was on preventing mistakes from happening again in 2023 and resetting the program to ensure success the next year. Even in Abu Dhabi, nobody from Mercedes appeared to be driving automatically since that race. But you can't blame someone for not caring all that much about how the year turned out. But it was completely the contrary a year ago. Wolff's response was prompt and direct when asked which of the two seasons, 2022 or 2021, he had found to be more difficult. Last year without any doubt, because last year was strong, and how it ended within a couple of seconds, we knew that's it, he explained. It's out of control, out of your hands. It was my first time losing control since I was an adolescent. In my sense of fairness, that was totally against my values. But this year was not as peaky in terms of the emotions, because we knew from the get-go at the beginning, the car was just not good enough. I think we understood that slowly but surely. We peeled one layer of the onion, so you peel one layer of the onion off and you think you solved the problem, and then there's the next one, and the next one. Then we started to correlate where this car that was really not a good one, where it could perform, and we tried to concentrate on those tracks, knowing the more difficult ones like Abu Dhabi were damage limitation. It was our doing. Last year in Abu Dhabi wasn't our doing. This was our doing. We knew we got it wrong. We were conscious that others did a better job, and this is an absolute meritocracy, how this season turned out. So that is okay. Okay in the sense that the sadness wasn't crushing and possibly unjust. Not in the sense that an 8-time champion team is unconcerned about winning just one race all season. But it's a different world emotionally. Hamilton calmly and politely shut down all the pre-race attempts to get him to revisit the turmoil of Abu Dhabi 2021, saying, "I don't really think about it, so I don't really have many thoughts on the last race here," and adding, "It's just I'm not really necessarily focused on stuff that is behind me, and more trying to, not control, but trying to be the best I can moving forwards and in the days ahead." He believes that some of the problem-solving procedures Mercedes had to go through this year after producing what was possibly the first truly subpar automobile since the company resumed fielding a works F1 team have been quite beneficial. Mercedes currently enters 2023 under considerably less expectation pressure than at any point since it started its current F1 program. And without a doubt, it doesn't feel nearly as wounded as it did a year ago. In the words of Wolff, Mercedes is in control of what happens next, saying that it is happier about or more comfortable with failing because of its own design flaws is not fully accurate. Maybe a more accurate description would be less traumatized and enraged by. In any case, despite 2022's results being so much worse than 2021, it enters winter 2022-23 in a considerably more optimistic frame of mind. Will they be able to produce a championship-worthy car for next year? They have stated multiple times that they have been able to pinpoint the problems that prohibited the W13 of becoming a true championship contender. And now, with a couple of months to go before the next season starts, they could be on their way to create another championship-winning car. What do you think? Will Mercedes be a championship contender in 2023? Let us know your thoughts about Mercedes' 2023 plans in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more of our content. And we'll see you in the next video. As always, thanks for watching.